What if the current that threatens to pull you under is actually the only force strong enough to wash away the silt of inherited silence, and true survival requires not fighting the water, but learning to breathe within its rhythm? In Undertow, Erin R. Flynn delivers a paranormal suspense novel that transforms the aquatic shifter trope into a visceral exploration of generational trauma and embodied reclamation, proving that in lineages defined by suppression, healing isn't found on dry land, it's forged in the terrifying surrender to depths you were taught to fear. This isn't merely another oceanic romance with fated mates, it's a psychologically precise narrative where every tidal shift feels like both memory and mandate. Consent is negotiated through somatic attunement rather than assumed destiny, and belonging means honoring the parts of yourself that refuse to be tamed by surface expectations. From the first salt-heavy narration, listeners are immersed in a world where water is witness and presence is the only true anchor. Perfect for emotionally complex paranormal fiction and stories where female power thrives within ecological frameworks, this audiobook serves up atmospheric immersion, relentless emotional honesty, and a protagonist whose journey from drowning air to sovereign tide resonates with anyone who's ever mistaken resistance for strength. When marine biologist Ilara Vance returns to her ancestral coastal enclave after her grandmother's death, she expects scientific detachment, not to discover the undertow that claimed 3 generations of women in her family, responds not to lunar cycles but to unspoken grief, and the reclusive lighthouse keeper Caelan Thorne carries the same saltwater sorrow in his bones. But as Ilara navigates riptides and fractured lineage, she realizes this homecoming isn't about closure, it's about continuation. Flynn masterfully avoids reducing Ilara to tragic descendant or Caelan to mystical guardian. Instead, she crafts a relationship rooted in radical reciprocity within constraint, where trust is earned through shared submersion rather than verbal promises, and where intimacy emerges from honoring each other's currents without demanding stillness. The audiobook narration amplifies this emotional alchemy, capturing Ilara's academic rigor softening into embodied clarity, and Caelan's guarded vigilance revealing warmth beneath stoic watchfulness. You don't just hear their bond deepen, you feel the seismic shift of 2 souls learning that some truths can only be accessed when you stop swimming against yourself. What elevates Undertow beyond typical aquatic paranormal fare is its nuanced portrayal of water magic as ancestral language rather than supernatural gimmick. Ilara isn't merely inheriting powers, she's confronting how scientific training taught her to treat intuition as noise, challenging the notion that understanding requires separation. Caelan doesn't guide her through dominance, he creates space where her chaos can exist without judgment, honoring her autonomy even as his own shores erode. The relationship evolves through acts of radical reciprocity, sharing silences during storm surges that bypass performance, establishing rhythms that protect both physical safety and emotional integrity, and defending each other from elders who mistake evolution for betrayal. Supporting characters add vital texture, fisherwomen whose labor encodes suppressed wisdom, tourists whose curiosity reflects colonial gaze, even the ocean itself rendered as living archive whose waves absorb centuries of unprocessed mourning. Every interaction reinforces the novel's core truth. In ecosystems built on flow, rigidity is violence, and presence is the only reliable navigation. Even the paranormal mechanics serve thematic depth, with tidal patterns mirroring emotional integration, and bioluminescence becoming metaphor for earned visibility. For audiobook listeners, this production is an immersive sensory descent into liquid intimacy. The narrator embodies Ilara and Caelan with remarkable distinction. Ilara's voice carries crisp intelligence laced with dawning receptivity, while Caelan's low timbre trembles with suppressed tenderness beneath disciplined cadence, making their chemistry palpable even in stillness. Sound design enhances atmosphere without overwhelming immersion, distant wave crashes marking temporal rhythm, rain against lighthouse glass during vulnerable confessions, the hushed gurgle of receding tides syncing with breath during moments of clarity, all anchor mythic stakes in tangible reality. Pacing mirrors the cadence of ocean life, deliberate during reflection and foundational bonding, then surging with urgency as external threats collide with internal awakenings. Whether you're commuting through arid landscapes or sitting in twilight solitude, the audiobook creates a portable sanctuary where slowness feels sacred and embodiment feels lifeline. It's storytelling as somatic validation, transforming passive listening into active participation in a journey where healing isn't about escaping the water, but about remembering how to move within it. Ultimately, Undertow redefines aquatic paranormal fiction by centering female epistemology within ecological frameworks. It satisfies genre cravings for satisfying chemistry and high-stakes tension, while delivering substantive commentary on intergenerational trauma, masculine vulnerability, and the radical act of trusting your body when systems demand dissociation. No prior series knowledge is needed. It stands confidently as a complete emotional odyssey. If you've ever wondered whether safety can coexist with wildness, or if true strength requires surrendering control to something greater, this audiobook will affirm that sometimes the most powerful act is simply letting the current carry what you cannot hold alone. Press play, step into the surf, and prepare to believe that even in landscapes shaped by loss, hearts still find ways to rise with the tide. Your next favorite paranormal tale isn't waiting in calm waters. It's waiting in the brave, trembling choice to dive deep.